Welcome back to Cord Cutting Today, where we break down some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting, including today, the top 5 cable networks I believe are most likely to shut down next. We'll break down what those are. Spectrum and NBC Universal strike a new deal that gives Spectrum customers free Peacock. Some catches, some details we'll have to get into with that. And Friendly TV reaches a deal to keep one of its most popular networks. These stories and a whole lot more coming up in a quick second. First though, if you want to learn anything about these stories, I'll put a link to each story I talk about in the show notes and in the first pinned comment so you can read them for yourself and come up with your own opinion. I'd love to hear from you. If you're new here and you like what we do, please consider hitting that subscribe button, hitting that thumbs up. Doing one or both lets YouTube know you enjoy what we do here, so YouTube recommends our videos to more people. It really does help, and hopefully we can help you break free from the high cost of television and still watch the shows you enjoy. Hey, real quick before we get into the news, I'm getting ready to do my next Q&A video this weekend. If you go to our page here on YouTube, just click on the Cord Cutters News. In the Community tab, you're going to find a post I made asking for questions. Please leave your questions there. If you ask them, I didn't answer them, please re-ask them there so I can see them all in one spot. Again, click on our channel, go to the Community tab, you find the post right there, you can reply with a comment. We would appreciate it. All right, let's dive into it. So cable TV's in trouble. There's no way around it. We already saw AT&T say, hey, we're willing to take a $30 billion loss just to get out of the television industry here and sell our remaining stake of DirecTV. We've seen other small cable providers completely shut down TV services, deciding Internet's the future of their service. Dish is becoming a wireless company, not a TV company. Comcast Spectrum want to be mostly a mobile phone company, sometimes it feels like, and a whole lot more. So what happens to all these cable networks? How can they survive when some of them are barely getting any viewership, to be honest with you? The viewership is surprisingly low for many networks. So what's happening here? Which ones are most likely to shut down? Well, we did some deep diving. We used numbers from Variety's 2020, and we used some updated news. And of course, this is updated from a post we did a few months ago, but things have changed a little bit. So we're going to start off with Boomerang. Boomerang is the classic cartoon network owned by Warner Bros. Discovery that now has competition from a joint venture by Warner Bros. Discovery's new MeTV Tunes. MeTV Tunes is basically a Boomerang, but free over there, available on a wide range of streaming services, and reportedly coming with a free ad-supported streaming channel in the future. We'll see how that works out. But Boomerang has been hit particularly hard in the viewership, and it's seen its numbers plummet to just 41,000 people watching it on average during prime time. We're not talking like 2 a.m. We're not talking, 10 a.m. on a Monday morning during a school year. We're talking 41,000 people during prime time hours, according to Variety. That's pretty tough numbers there. What about next up? You've heard me talk about this for some time. I firmly believe that the small secondary networks we're going to start to see wrapping up. We've seen many of them change recently. Things shift and move. But the BET, all those small networks, I think are very likely to shut down. With BET, Her, and others being one of the most watched, but still only 41,000 viewerships, losing 7% of its audience in 2023. Paramount is cutting costs, and I think they've tried several times to sell BET, reportedly never been successful. If this latest round that they're reportedly working on fails, I suspect we will see very heavy cuts at BET that will force it to shut down multiple of its smaller networks. It's got quite a few with that, with BET Her, BET Hip Hop, BET Soul, and more. The cost there. Paramount is struggling. They're laying off a lot of staff. They need to cut costs, and if they're unable to sell BET, I suspect they'll shut down many. I think the only reason that BET is still running with all these networks now is they're trying to sell it, so they want to keep everything going as much as they can. But if they're not able to sell it in the next month or two, I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year we see massive cuts at BET because of that. All right, number 3, we are expecting to see continued shrinking in the cable news industry. We've already seen several small news networks with Newsnet and Scripps News, formerly Newsly, both shut down. Newsnet was an over-the-air network. Scripps News was a majority over-the-air network, but also carried on several cable networks, including Uverse and Dish in select markets, depending on where you live. I fully suspect that we'll see more small news networks shut down. What Scripps was very telling in their letter about them shutting down. One of the things the CEO said was advertisers are pulling back from news over fears they're going to upset their clients. If you think about it, it's quite true. We're a very polarized country right now, and if I say something remotely positive about one side or the other, I'm pissing off half my audience, just to be blunt about it. And because of that, advertisers have pulled back, making it very hard. I suspect we'll see a growing number of small news networks shut down or shift to a different strategy than cable, maybe a hybrid online/written news. We're seeing some of those changes with CNN putting their website behind a paywall and launching their own subscription service to try to find ways to be profitable. No matter what you say, unfortunately, news companies have to pay the bills. People don't donate to news agencies, and people really don't like to subscribe to them anymore unless they can find some type of physical benefit to it. Because that's put small news networks in very big trouble, and we're seeing a growing number of them shut down, a trend I expect to continue in the next year or two, especially after this presidential cycle. Once those big push of viewership is done, I suspect we'll see a withdrawal there. All right, we talked about BET, but MTV, I also suspect we'll see massive cutbacks. MTV targets right now mostly the teenager, especially heavily skewing towards women market, which is kind of interesting. MTV originally for a long time was more of a late teens, early 20s TV network, and it's actually slowly shifted to be more of a teenage market, with early 20s not watching it like they used to, which is interesting. It's actually eating up some of the demographic that used to be a Disney Channel market, and Disney Channel has actually shifted younger. I had a friend of mine, I used to work at the camp where Bug Juice was originally shot, and when they came back and re-shot it there, instead of focusing on the preteen, early teens, they focused on more of the preteens and younger, the elementary age kids rather than the middle school and high school kids. And what I was told was the reason behind that is that's the new audience that they have at Disney Channel. It's slightly younger than it ever was. And I think that's a big change there. We'll keep a close eye on this. And lastly, Freeform. Disney's been pulling content support for it, trying to move this content over to like Hulu. I fully suspect that we'll see that shut down sometime in the near future. It's one of the first channels that Disney shuts down. This comes as Spectrum recently dropped it. Well, there you go. My top 5 picks for networks to shut down. You leave me a comment. You let me know what you think. All right, we got some other news, so let's race through it. Spectrum has reached a deal with NBC Universal. This deal will add Peacock. This will make Paramount or Peacock join Disney Plus and Max free for subscribers. Now, there's a catch. We'll see what the price hike. Last time they did deals like this with Disney, it resulted in a price hike. Will we see another Spectrum price hike as they price in the cost of these services? Spectrum seems to believe if they just bundle all the streaming services into cable in one big bill, you'll stay with them. We'll be interested to see what the final price of all that is when it happens. All right, Frndly TV, the discount live TV service that can be picked up for under $10 a month, has apparently reached a deal for Great American Family. Now, this is a very popular network on the service with very family-friendly content. Had posted messages on their scroll that warning people that on October 1st they could drop it. Well, no official announcement has come. The scroll is gone, and customer service is telling customers, good news, Great American Family is staying on Frndly TV. Both sides have declined to respond to our request for comment. We'll let you know once we hear more, but for now, it's staying, which is really great news. Speaking of channels, Pluto TV added a bunch of channels yesterday, including a couple that were not announced. Of course, we heard about CNN, CBS Español, The Good Wife, hit sitcoms, Home Full, Love Nature, More Drama, Mythbusters, Outer Sphere, Pokemon, Strawberry Shortcake, and more all coming. But we also now have Pluto TV SWAT, kind of a police-focused channel, now streaming for free on Pluto TV. If you want to see the full list of everything that went live on Pluto TV, link in the show notes down below. Well, that's it for today. A little different format today. I think it'd be interesting every couple of months to dive into which networks are struggling the most. It's a rapid changing world, and I still firmly believe in 5 years, cable television will look very different. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think. I'll love to hear from you. What channels do you think are most likely to shut down? Which ones are you most worried about shutting down? Is there anything you would love to keep that you're worried about? Well, that's it for today. Don't forget to leave me a question in the community tab on our page for a Q&A video happening later this week. Until then, take care, be safe. Have a great day, everybody.